Hello and welcome back to Vox Podcast, the weekly pseudo-academic roundtable of pop culture analysis with drinking and swearing. My name is Christopher Maverick, but you can call me Mav, and I am once again here with my co-hosts Katya and Hannah. Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi. Happy Wickedsgiving, really.
Wickedsgiving?
That's a ridiculous thing to say. But it is pretty much sold out today, Friday, after Thanksgiving. I cannot get on AMC's app to buy tickets without a wait time appearing, because that's how many people are going to the movies. So I'm going to go again, but not this weekend. I went to see Conclave this morning at like 9:30 a.m., and then I'm going to go see a horror movie tomorrow night. But don't worry, I'll see Wicked again next week probably, and then my entire family is going to go for Christmas if I have anything to say about it, which I'm sure I will. So I'm at least going to see it 3 times in theaters, and yes, it is worth it.
And you're trying to spike those box office results, aren't you?
No, I believe in this movie. I have waited like 20 years for this movie.
I know.
And like there were so many doubters. And in fact, I think that you doubted me a little for picking it second in the box office game. But I
thought you could have gotten
it
in later. Oh no! I thought it was a wonderful pick. I just thought you could have gotten it. I didn't think it would go that early. That was all. Because you similarly did. I thought Inside Out was a hell of a pick. I was intending to get it in round 2 because I thought that was going to be great. I just didn't think anybody would take it in round 1, and obviously you did. So you know.
Okay, I take it back that you were a doubter, but like there have been a lot of doubters of Wicked, and like people saying it's not going to make you money, and it's not good. And it did, and it will, and like
it's doing better than I thought it was. Yeah.
Like literally, even if I wanted to go to Wicked tonight, I could only go and not sit in a front row seat at 10:30 p.m. So I will not, because I will be in bed. But that was a lot about Wicked. I'll shush.
Just go and sit and look up at Ariana's chin the entire time.
I'm doing all right. Also, technically, today is not the day after Thanksgiving. It's technically Native American Heritage Day.
It is.
Do with that what you will. And also Black Friday, which I love that Black Friday is basically no longer a thing, and that there's like a particular generation of, I think it's like boomers to Gen X, who are really mad about it on the internet for some reason.
Yeah.
They're mad about it?
I didn't realize that there would be nostalgia for waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning and standing in line at Best Buy.
So, like, trying to speak to my Gen Z/Gen Alpha nieces and nephews about it, and I was trying to explain the concept to them, and there was just why would you do that? You have Amazon kind of mentality. It's like, because that is really what's happened. Like Amazon has a Prime Day every other week, and like it's just like we've just ruined.
To me, the more confusing thing is like I understand why pre-Amazon Prime Day why this is happening. The thing that I'm confused by is, given that like the internet and e-commerce exist, why do people still want to have this option? That's the part that I don't
understand why we need to be up at like 1 a.m. to fight over a TV or a Couch Patch doll.
To be fair, I've done it. So but it's not.
Couch Patch doll?
No, I've never fought over them, because like it's not. And maybe this is a whole different episode. Maybe next year we'll have to do one about just Black Friday. We talked about it a little bit on our toy episode last year, but the stories about the fights and stuff happening, that's rare enough that those are stories. Like most of the time, Black Friday is more like tailgating. Like it's a bunch of people standing in line joking. There's like a camaraderie about it. It's not. I get it. No, I get how it might not be somebody's thing, but I'm saying it's not really as like part of it is the fun. It's people who enjoy shopping. It's the tradition of it is worth more than anything else. And also you get some really good deals. I mean, less so now, because in a world with Prime Day, it doesn't matter. But back in the day, I bought a TV literally for like $1,000 off. So,
but hear me out,
that made sense.
Those deals still happen and on Amazon, but like also like almost every store, like including your small business, has a online store. So like, I can pop on Madewell literally right now and get like 40 to 50% off jeans.
This is not
that's a bigger deal. But all I have to do is measure myself, and then I can just get my Madewell jeans, and then I don't have to go to the mall, which I do want to point out. The movie theater is at the mall, so I was there, but I would prefer to go shopping on the internet because
we've gone so far astray of what the actual topic is today.
There is no topic today.
Well, there is. This is a
chaos. Perhaps is the right thing.
Okay, so I went back and listened to the episode 4 years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic. I was on the Protagonist, our friends over at the Protagonist Podcast, to play a game. Remember when the pandemic happened? We actually did several of them on this show too. When the pandemic happened and nobody could see anybody and people were playing games on the internet, on Zoom and everything. And the Protagonist does this a lot and we did this game where it was a drafting game, a game where Joe and I both came up with a list of jacks. And by jacks, I mean, it turns out in the history of pop culture, in literature, in film, and video games, it turns out there is a large number of characters that just happen to have the name Jack. Male, female, non-binary. Jack is just a very common name. So the idea is you come up with a list of jacks, and I have a list of scenarios, missions, storylines known only to me. I am going to read a storyline, and they are each going to take turns proposing one jack from their list and then explain how that jack is best for their storyline. And then I will decide who gets the point based on whichever story I like best. There's no prizes. It's just sort of the thrill of victory. That's the game. And we called it Jack versus Jack on the Protagonist because they are a work safe podcast, but I like to think of it as the jack off. That's cool.
That'll be entertaining someone maybe.
In and of itself. All right. I can flip a coin to decide who goes first. And then Katya, call heads or tails.
I want to be tails.
Okay, Hannah, you have the option of going first. It was heads.
Oh, fine.
You choose to go first. Okay. So
yeah,
I am going to read
Katya wants to go first.
That was the whole point of the coin flip.
Yeah. I am going to read a completely original Jack scenario. And then, Hannah, you will choose from your list of jacks. Once a jack has been chosen, no one else may choose that jack for any other mission. That jack will be off the board forever and ever, or, at least until someone else plays this game. So, all right, here is scenario number 1. You are Jack, and unfortunately, your teenage daughter has been kidnapped. You don't have any money for ransom, but what you do have is a very particular set of skills that you have acquired over a very long career. What are your skills, and how do you use them to get your daughter back? Who's your Jack?
Okay. I'll go with Jack Dawkins, the Artful Dodger, who if you don't know who this is, it is the character originally from Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Although the Artful Dodger appears in other media, such as Oliver and Company, that delightful musical with Billy Joel. But anyway, Jack Dawkins, the Artful Dodger. So, you might not be able to have money to pay ransom, but if you're the Artful Dodger, you can certainly acquire money, right? Like, you didn't say I couldn't acquire money because being a pickpocket is like a thing. And then also, you don't just pickpocket money if you're a pickpocket. I mean, you can pickpocket other things. And also, the Artful Dodger is a friendly kind of guy who can make friends and change alliances and move through situations. This is not like a Jack Bauer situation where you just go crashing and running through stuff, right? This requires experience. So, the Artful Dodger.
Katya, who is your Jack?
Okay, can you repeat the scenario again to make sure I understand fully?
Teenage daughter kidnapped, and you're Jack with a particular set of skills.
Got it. I realize how many serial killers are on my list, which is probably not ideal. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is ideal. Actually, I'm going to go with Samurai Jack.
Ooh.
Because he's a whole ass samurai. And he's basically saving the entire world. So obviously he could get a teenage daughter back with his samurai skills, and he's animated, which means if, he gets stabbed, you just put a little bit ink back on there and he's fine. You said he had skills. I've decided the medium is the message. And in this case,
You got some PhD students, not students anymore, actually, in this room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Samurai Jack.
I'm gonna know how many serial killers are on this list by the end.
Chaos. Okay. I told you this would be chaos.
I actually like the fact that the Artful Dodger was going to raise the ransom money, essentially one pickpocketing job at a time. It was going to take a while, but he was going to get there. And I like that he had friends. What really sold me, I think, on Katya was that Samurai Jack is animated so he can survive any wound. Now, the problem is, I'm only going to allow that as the reasoning once. So for the first point, Katya gets the point.
I win by reason of whimsy.
This game is, if you're looking for whimsy and frivolity, yeah, this game is going to have a lot of whimsy and frivolity. But first point goes to Katya. It's just like, I like the idea, Samurai Jack, because he's animated and can survive any wound.
I mean, glad that was the time I used that, because I think I only have other animated characters.
But also, he's a whole ass samurai. He can probably get a teenage girl back.
He's a whole ass samurai. I do remember he's a whole ass samurai, and he's saving the world.
I'm gonna say this, not quibbling at all with the win, because fair, but I feel like saving the world and teenage daughter are two very different scenarios.
Well, if we're saving the teenage daughters will be fine.
I
don't know.
We'll see.
Whatever. We'll see. Samurai Jack is immortal, apparently.
There's going to be other options, though. So, all right. Currently, that point's over. So now we are going to move on to Jack scenario number 2.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And Katya goes first this time.
Oh, no.
Right. You are Jack. After the fall of civilization, you now live in a bleak world where a man's worth is determined only by the speed of his steel. You've taken to wandering this world as a masterless adventurer, taking whatever job you can find to make ends meet. Some more questionable than others, but you do what you have to in order to survive. After one job, you find yourself in possession of a defenseless baby, a baby you have now taken a liking to. How do you defend this child from the cold, hard world as the only guardian that he knows? Samurai Jack would have been great here, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Wait, the apocalypse has happened. I'm surviving by my mercenary skills, and I'm taking care of a baby.
You're taking care of a baby.
Okay, got it.
I just want to ask you to not pick a serial killer.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is one of those things where I feel like my choices are regrettable. Because the other options I have serial killers and other children.
There's nothing that stops that from happening.
When we say he has to live by the steel, does he have to be like a mercenary person?
No. That's just, it's just that kind of world where there are a lot of mercenaries around, but you don't have to be a mercenary.
Great. Okay. Anime people are probably going to be mad at me. I actually think this is technically a manga. This was, spoiler alert, this was the Thanksgiving activity where my family, we were all drinking a bit, and I had them help me with my list. And so this is a suggestion from my brother, and it is I believe, manga character, Blackjack Tezuka. Okay. And when I looked him up, he is apparently a genius surgeon who miraculously saves all kinds of people. I would like to say that it's basically House, but Japanese and manga. That's how I envisioned this when I figured out who this was. Again, people who actually have read this or watched it can roast me in all the comments or in a 5-star review on iTunes. Because it is a child in the apocalypse and there's no vaccines, I feel like medical skills highly important to make sure that child survives. And also, in an apocalypse scenario, I feel like when you're like, wait, but I'm a doctor, diffuses situations because it's like, cool, you have life-saving medical care. I trade. So like as we know from Star Trek, that works a lot. So I'm gonna go with that guy. And also the images I found of him, he seems to often be taking care of children. So he seems like he's kind of like has like cozy dad vibes.
Okay.
Yay!
Cozy dad vibes. Sure, I'm writing that down.
Is that menacing or is that positive?
Okay.
I'll do something. Okay. So I'm going to just pull out a superhero.
Ooh.
Apparently, there is Lady Jacqueline Fallsworth Crichton, or Spitfire. And so she's a superhero and has regenerative healing, super strength, and is a hand-to-hand combatant. And admittedly, being a trained airplane pilot doesn't help so much in a post-apocalyptic scenario, probably. But can take care of herself, can take care of a kid, like survived some weird vampire things, apparently. I don't know the superhero so well. I'm not going to lie to you. I couldn't have all male Jacks. It just wasn't going to happen. She had a son, so she has like childcare experience, like all superheroes in comic books. Went through some weird stuff, so totally ready for the dystopian thing, you know? So this is not the scenario of a nanny or something where there's someone who's just like pulled in with no childcare experience. She has some. So, but also can punch someone. So we're good.
I did not see Jackie Fallsworth coming up here. Yeah, Spitfire.
So compelling.
Yeah, yes. I think Hannah gets the point here. She's got childcare experience. You know what really got me, I think, is that you brought up that she's survived vampires, which that is true. She's survived vampires. This could be a vampire apocalypse, so maybe she's got a leg up there. To me, that beats out cozy dad vibes, which was the most compelling thing.
Be a surgeon.
Okay.
Cool. I'll accept it.
All right. So I believe Hannah goes first for the next one. Okay. Scenario number 3. In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. The worst of criminal offenders are pursued by detectives of the major case squad, while the vicious and violent members of the underworld are hunted by the detectives of the Organized Crime Control Bureau. And sexually based offenses, considered especially heinous, are investigated by an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. You are Jack. What is your story?
I feel like I could just say Jack Vincennes from LA Confidential, and I was doing some. I'm being very lazy right now. I'm not going to lie to you. I was, getting my name in the papers for investigating drug crimes with celebrities, and like that's what I did. And then I got reassigned and fell down a rabbit hole, and like ended up being part of the Special Victims Unit. You know, like that literally is almost word for word like half of what happens in LA Confidential. So I'm just gonna be lazy. That's not going to win me any points unless you're just amused by that.
I mean, it might.
What are you going to use, Katya?
For some reason, I was imagining mainly combat things, and then for some reason, I decided small children would be also useful, which is
in combat.
Oh, wait, does it have to be fictional?
No,
okay,
they can be real. It has to be a character. Yeah,
it can't be a real person.
I mean, I guess we can decide via committee if it's too depressing.
Okay. Again, I am going to pull from the family list. Special Counsel Jack Smith from the U.S. Department of Justice.
Anna, do you want to allow it?
Why not?
Can I speak in detail for the record? No.
You know what? Make your case.
Hold on. I mean, the main thing I know about it is that he tried to drop the indictment against Trump, which is not helping me right now. I think that was mostly because he's trying not to establish really awful precedents that would expand protections against the president. But I think I'm just going to stop here. There's that or a serial killer. What do you want? Or a child. And I feel like I'm not going to put a child in the... It was the option between serial killer and child. I'm not going to put a child in the scenario where a sexual assault was implicated. I
mean, it could have been one of the other. Yeah, I mean, there's a world where I think Jack Smith is a good thing, but you just sort of gave up on it. It's just like you're like, oh, but he gave up and he's letting Trump go, and it's like, yeah, those are not his winning qualities. You know, the fact that he tried to take down a former president and save us all, that would have been good. But no, I guess with the pitch. As the pitching Smith did.
He has prosecuted multiple successful cases against people who sexually assaulted other people.
I'm sure.
So, okay, well, She gets to go first to the next scenario. So here you go, redeem yourself.
We pick a scenario where murder is a positive quality.
Well, let's see. Scenario number 4. All right, Here you go. Scenario number 4. You are Jack. Back in your day, you were a great athlete at some form of sports ball that you were about to explain to me. However, due to an unfortunate circumstance, you were never able to go pro at your chosen sports ball activity. Now, in order to pay off gambling debts, you've been forced into your worst nightmare. You need to become the coach of a tween sports ball team of a ragtag group of delinquents that you must mold into contenders for the state championship, or else something bad probably happens. How do you become a better person by coaching these kids as they teach you valuable life lessons and help you rekindle your love for the game?
You said murder was supposed to be applicable here?
I don't know.
Okay. I feel like the bigger problem is I don't know anything about sports.
It can be any sport you want.
Great.
If you want to massage it.
I'm going to go with, does it have to be a real sport? Great.
You're gonna go Quidditch?
I'm going to go with Jack Marston from Red Dead Redemption, who is technically a child. I believe he is, if I remember correctly, he's the son of one of the gang members in Red Dead Redemption, but he's been raised in a gang. So he is very good at gang activities because he's been trained in the things. So I'm imagining he is going to be coaching a group of fellow kids in competitive pickpocketing and teaching them how to survive in the Wild West, because it's an important life skill. He's already been doing it for years on his own, because for a period of time his dad abandons him. It's a long story, very sad, but he's plucky and he's fine.
Is Red Dead Redemption in the West?
What?
I think so. What do you mean, like the Old West?
Yeah. I don't know why I said
Red Dead Redemption is cowboy time.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. I did Redemption 2, which I thought for some reason was in the South.
I think either one of them.
It doesn't matter. Gosh, it's just been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I thought, I can understand this reference. And I got confused.
It's not a core fandom for me, but I was trying to have character diversity. But yeah, the child is going to teach his fellow kids how to pickpocket with life skills, and it's going to teach him about the importance of sticking it to the man. Sometimes literally in case of violence. And it's going to go great. And it's going to be nice horses. And it's going to be in very beautiful scenery. And you get to pass time around a campfire, and it's very wholesome. You're going to tell a lot of stories. It'll be great.
I'm going to specify, because I think that there are multiple versions of this, because they're all very characterized very differently, Mav. So, I'm not taking this character wholly off the table. Okay. I'm picking Jack Frost from the Santa Claus 3, played by Martin Short. Where Jack Frost is the villain. And I think that his backstory is actually that he's the villain because he was very good at snowball fight games. But then he lost a big one to Frosty the Snowman, and he just can't get over it. And he's the least known kind of Christmassy figure. People think about Frosty, people think about Santa, but no one thinks about Jack Frost. So he's very upset and he's very angry. And so in punishment for what he has done in the Santa Claus 3, because he's a sneaky villain, he has to coach some kids. And through coaching the kids about snowball fights, he gets warm hugs and learns the true meaning of Christmas again, and winter fun times, and found family. And therefore, he melts his frozen heart.
Yeah. This one's tough. Those are actually two very good pitches.
Kid with a tragic backstory.
I like them both. I think I want to see/play the Jack Marston story more. I like the idea of teaching competitive pickpocketing. It's I don't know how that competition works, but I'm intrigued.
Well, it's a video game, so it's obviously going to be a fetch quest.
It's
right?
gonna be.
You're going to be like, okay, cool. I've only played Redemption 1. Imagine, in the sport of competitive pickpocketing, you're going to have a fetch quest. So you're going to be on outside of ye olde Wild West town and or the South to appease Hannah. And you're going to be on the outskirts on your horse. It's going to be great. You're going to have stirrups. It's going to be fun.
Trying to relate.
You're going to have a great outfit because it's the Wild West. So you're standing there and you're like, okay, cool. In the bar, you're going to sneak in. You're going to have to hide because you're technically a child. Although they don't really care about drinking age at this point. So, and then you're going to have to distract with the thing.
You got it, Katya. Okay, Katya gets the point. All right.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go an entirely different direction for question number 5. I believe is it not? Hannah goes first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The odds, Katya does evens.
Yes. Okay. You're going to love this one. I sense you're going to enjoy this. You are Jack. You run an artisanal wood shop that doubles as a bed and breakfast in your small hometown. But times have become tough, and this year, on December 26th, the bank is going to repossess your shop along with several other local businesses in order to sell them to an out-of-town evil corporation. However, the evil corporation has sent an executive to assess their properties before the purchase. At night, a freak snowstorm has stranded them in town, and the only place they can stay is your bed and breakfast. Explain how you take an unlikely attraction to them and combine forces to save your shop/B&B and the town and discover the true meaning of Christmas, which is apparently hooking up and saving small businesses.
Okay. I
Did
like
you
the
say a whale?
scenario. Okay. I am Jack the Pumpkin King.
Oh.
And I love holidays, but I'm also a secret romantic. And like, I love my dog. I like the cozy vibes. I like the pumpkins. I'm kind to kids. I get excited about holidays and have a holiday countdown. Like, this is the thing, right? And also, like, I have like sort of powers. And so, like, when people get stranded, my musical ability to burst into song at any point, and also my enthusiasm for the holidays and my clumsy mishaps that turn out to be charming are very charming to the people who are staying. Plus, I have the cute dog who like shows up as one does, like for romantic comedy, you know, banter and stuff. I mean, like, look at the cute little dog in the proposal that gets taken by the big bird. Look at the cat in Meet the Parents with Jinxie Cat. And then there's a dog in like the second one, I think. Anyway, Jack Skellington is like the perfect rom-com lead, you know, like singing, clumsiness, mishaps, comedy, holiday love, cheer, learns a lesson by the end. There we are. Like, just you know, it's a rom-com. It's all the rom-com vibes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. So I'm the proprietor of the B&B. I'm the proprietor of the B&B, and I have to save the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I have to pick this Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Oh, Jesus.
Only because he's actually in a hotel. And his strategy for saving the town is anyone that comes in to assess properties for their sale, he's just going to do a little stabby in the shower. In his B&B. And because it's in a remote location in the winter, everyone will just assume that they had a tragic accident on the drive up. So the town will be absolved of any blame.
That is not the holiday spirit.
I mean,
yeah. This one's Hannah's.
It has to be holiday spirit.
I don't think there's any saving this one. Yeah. Jack Skellington takes this one.
Oh.
Right. Maybe you wanted to save Jack Torrance for this next one, though. Right?
I love murderers.
Okay, so this is question 6. Katya goes first, and this is a special question wherein you will be using 2 Jacks from your list.
2 Jacks.
Right. Yes. You are Jack, and you have a friend who is also Jack. You've worked out a great career for yourselves, wherein you wait until Christmas and you find homes where rich families have gone away for the holidays and you loot them. Don't worry, these people all have great insurance. They'll be fine. However, unfortunately, this year's score, the house is being protected by a 10-year-old boy. And this kid is a psychopath with a succession of implausible, but nonetheless quite deadly traps MacGyvered together out of toys and household goods. He's straight up trying to kill you. How do your two Jacks defeat this little fucker so that you can have a respectable, dishonest living?
So is this like just Home Alone?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that film. All of these are original scenarios that I've come up with last night.
Okay. So you pick two bandits who are trying to break in.
And how are they going to defeat Macaulay Culkin?
Okay, great. I'm going to go with... Okay, because I'm imagining this is Home Alone and it's like the shenanigans of everything is whimsical. And I'm going to go with Captain Jack Harkness. Because only Captain Jack has the appropriately twisted mind to anticipate any of the things. And also he has advanced technology from all of the future things and all of that stuff. And he lives forever, also basically canonically in universe and Doctor Who. So he also cannot basically be killed, more or less, I assume. I'm also going to go with Jack from The Incredibles. Most because I feel like they would have really good banter together somehow. Just because I just intuitively, Captain Jack, I feel like would just enjoy a small child that occasionally bursts into the flame and would get a great kick out of that. And because it's, Jack in The Incredibles basically has all the powers, I think.
He does have all the...
Any traps or shenanigans could easily be circumvented by, I don't know, turning himself into an ice cube or whatever. Or conversely fire or electricity stuff or being super stretchy or suddenly the Hulk. So I think they're very versatile, and only that extreme level of versatility could possibly invade the home of a Macaulay Culkin type trap. I'm going to go with that.
I do want to say that I was thinking about picking Jack, so good pick.
Glad we were on the same page.
I'm going to see if... Can I pick Percy Jackson because he's a Jack, but a Jack's son?
I'll allow it.
Sure.
Great. I'm going to pick Percy Jackson because he has water powers. If the kid tries to do some stuff, Percy can use his water powers to stop things, smack the kid back. Also, he's a kid too, so he's not like an older, creepy guy bullying a kid, I think that is really important to not be bullying like a child. Have someone who's about the same age on their level, just with powers. And Percy Jackson has problem-solving skills that he learns through all the ancient Greek myth stuff, like come to life in New York and stuff. So he's used to dealing with stuff. And the Greek gods, not nice people, right? Like whimsical, forget about their kids, just like absolutely awful in mythology. And so he's used to dealing with psychopaths, right? And so it's with Hannibal and Silence of the Lambs. It's always good to have a psychopath on your side and understanding what makes them tick. And then I would pick Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk because also a kid, but cunning and able to climb stuff, get away around the traps, able to steal stuff. And if he can beat a giant and outwit a giant and take stuff, then he's going to be a good looter, I feel like they'd vibe. They're both kind of mythological fairy tale-y.
Yeah. I think what makes this one work, though, is Jack has all the powers and,
Jack powers!
for beating traps. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Katya gets this one.
Yeah.
I did like all the Jack Harkness descriptions, too, but, I think Jack is, the key to this particular scenario.
Great.
He is a baby, might be a little tricky to control.
Powerful baby.
That's okay. All right.
And nobody wants to punch a baby.
I don't think that's true. I'm not saying I do. That would be wrong. I'm just saying I think there are people out there.
And in the Home Alone movies, I think all bets are off. Okay.
I feel like you would lose the PG rating if you punched a baby.
Those movies shouldn't be rated PG. Those movies are basically Saw. Those movies should be hard R.
I don't disagree.
All right. Number 7. I believe Hannah goes first. Is correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. This should be fun. All right. You are Jack, and you are the captain of a mighty sailing vessel. You have a dedicated crew willing to do anything for you. And while you are stern and demand respect, you love your crew like they're your family. However, on a recent voyage, your ship encountered a great and monstrous sea beast. There were casualties, and you even lost a limb. Now you are set on revenge. How do you lead your men across the sea in search of this beast so that you can enact your revenge?
We're getting a revenge on a sea monster?
Perhaps a giant whale.
Oh, giant whale!
I mean, it could be any sea monster.
I want the giant whale to win.
Yeah, no one wants to fight a whale. But if someone were saying,
it could also be a shark.
But sharks shouldn't also fight. I want sharks to live okay. Like sharks are not that bad. Jaws actually made people way more afraid of sharks than they should be, and like sharks are far more endangered now after Jaws than like they were before, and it's just really sad, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, it can be a giant white whale as well.
I want it to be a smoke monster. Oh, no one cares. No one cares.
You
about
can
the
choose the
monster.
You can choose the monster. I left it vague on purpose.
Okay, fine.
Be a kraken.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna pick Jack Burns from Meet the Parents, played by Robert De Niro. Because Robert De Niro plays Jack Burns as utterly relentless, won't let things go. He's like the absolute worst, like pushes people into things that they don't normally do. Ben Stiller brings home a cat and spray paints it. It's a comedy, sure, but he's clearly doing it because Robert De Niro's Jack Burns is just like so scary. And he has tons of skills because he's in the CIA and he's constantly able to manipulate people and use connections. And I'm sure he also has, quote, a certain set of skills. So anyway, Jack Burns seems like the kind of guy who would actually go after a sea monster. I think that they would move on or find comfort in their crew or whatever. But this guy is just relentless. And so to push his crew to do this, he has to have tunnel vision and can't be thinking of them. So he's got to be in it. And so he's like using his set of skills. He's also competent at himself, even though he's not thinking clearly, to say the least. He's going to go after a smoke monster, and I know that's from another Jack show, but I don't want him to go after a whale. He's doing this thing. In this year, he does not have Jinxie Cat, and if he had Jinxie Cat, maybe he would chill about his family and have a friend, but he doesn't. He's going to use his CIA skills and harsh demeanor to fulfill this quest. Maybe in another scenario where you ask for more information, he learns the power of love from an animal and it heals him, but that's not what you asked, so I leave it to you.
Okay. Katya.
Great. I get to pick the sea monster?
Sure.
Fabulous. The sea monster is Gyarados.
Oh, I don't want you to hunt Gyarados either.
Also, this is one of the ones that was suggested to me. Apologies to the Pokemon fandom. I will probably butcher this, but the sea monster is Gyarados. And the Jack, he's a Pokemon Ranger named Jack Walker from Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. So Jack is not going to seek violent revenge on the Gyarados. What he's going to do is he's going to befriend the Gyarados, most likely with candy, because that's what you do in the Pokemon universe. You give candy to befriend the critters, right? He's going to feed the Gyarados so much friendship candy. The Gyarados is like, oh, we're buddies. And then he's going to capture the Gyarados, and then he's going to use the power of the Gyarados to rebuild the town as a form of reparations. And then they're going to have really nice sea adventures after that, and go visit the sea temple and help other aquatic Pokemon.
Okay.
The Gyarados is still captured.
The Gyarados is still captured, but like in the world of Pokemon where we accept that we're enslaving sentient beings.
Yeah, can't think about Pokemon too hard, okay?
You did mention reparations.
I did think about Pokemon too hard, and he did write a review of the first Pokemon movie.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. It's funny.
The town gets rebuilt.
Katya wins that one.
Also, apologies to all of the fandoms I have inadvertently offended today. Because I feel like that has been this entire episode. Because most of these characters, I don't know fakely. Other than, like, Captain Jack.
All right. Number 8.
Okay, 8.
Right.
Got it.
I believe Katya goes first in this.
Okay. Stress.
Okay. You are Jack, a member of a medieval family in a fantasy realm where magical creatures and spells still exist.
Great.
The king has recently died, and due to a convoluted set of circumstances involving centuries of incest as well as general political unrest, it is not entirely clear who the rightful heir to the throne is. How does your Jack attempt to rise to power?
There's another one where I'm probably going to offend a fandom, but I only sort of know this character in detail. But because of the fantasy realm and also the king problem, I'm going to go with, I believe it's Jacques d'Aldersberg from The Witcher, who is the last Grand Master of the Order of the White Rose, who's responsible for basically like keeping the king from completely falling apart and is part of the church's militant arm in the Witcher universe, all of that good stuff. And he has magical powers. I think he's basically going to do a military coup. I think he's just going to be like, cool, nobody knows? Great. We're running things. He is also, I believe, implicated in the assassination of a king or is involved in that quest line. So if the king and or queen ends up being awful, he's there as like a failsafe to be like, cool, you can't be awful because like I can assassinate and I've got magical powers and a whole military. Yeah, we just gotta hope that he's not evil. He's like the Witcher is more powerful. So if he gets out of line, then the Witcher will defeat him because the Witcher is in fact the protagonist of this universe. And therefore unkillable because video games.
All right. Anna.
Okay. Hear me out. Force and like man doing power is like such a tired narrative, even if there is magic involved, right? So like I propose my Jack be Jacqueline Belafort from Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. And I guess like fast forward if like you haven't read the novel and want to, but spoilers for a book from 1937. Jacqueline is a really interesting character and choice because she is so manipulative. You don't know. She's also very smart to the point that she almost fools Poirot. She comes up with one of the most foolproof murder plots in Agatha Christie's history. So, like, she has the capability of great love. She has the capability of seduction and forging great friendships because that is, I think that in this game, the power of drawing connections with people.
The Game of Thrones, as it were.
Yes, something that has been underplayed. And also being able to not just like being willing to murder, but in this scenario, not just being willing to murder, but having it not be traced back to you. Because like, frankly, if they're really going to be a Poirot in this situation, there are some characters in a Game of Thrones situation who are scheming women, not to name any names, who play their hand. And some of them, not to name any names, are actually not as clever as they think they are. And therefore end up alone and alienating everyone they ever cared about. But she is able to do both. She's able to have love and manipulate at the same time. So while everyone's looking at the man, the woman wins.
I like that we both pick people with the whole like do whatever in their name.
Yeah. I'm going with Jacqueline. I like the manipulation,
That's
but
fair.
also capable of love.
It was a better thought out story.
Makes her more capable than essentially everyone in the original story. So,
fair enough.
All right. Number 9. You are Jack. Oh, this is another twofer. You are Jack, and you have a chance meeting with another Jack. And despite an initial physical attraction, you also see reasons why this can never work out between the two of you. You decide to just become
Captain Jack for.
Yeah, you decide to just be friends, and you actually become really good friends until one crazy drunken night things go too far, and you do hook up. And now, can the friendship survive? Can there be something more? Explain the story of your Jack on Jack love.
Okay.
I don't like this with my remaining options.
Okay, I'm going to pick two TV Jacks from very different eras. In the 3rd season of Ted Lasso, Jack is a character who is Jack Danvers. She is like a wealthy venture capitalist, and like
okay, that woman.
and like she dates the character Keeley for a while, and like she's, I think I read her character as a bit two-faced but charming, and also very wealthy. This is all important. In season 2 of Bridgerton, there is cousin Jack Featherington, who, after Lord Featherington from season 1 is murdered, he takes over as Lord Featherington. And Jack Featherington's storyline is not wealthy at all, but he is like convincing everyone he is from some big diamond mines in like Georgia, I think. Or no, ruby mines in Georgia. And also he's like, stealing their money in a bad investment and like pulling people in. So like we have rich venture capitalists, not rich kind of an adventurer capitalist, okay? And so they meet and they don't trust each other, and like they just want to have fun, and like, you know, I honestly I'm not sure, like, you know, if like it would work out between them, but not actually like be the most permanently attracted to each other, because like I don't think each other's really each other's type, but they're trying to make it work. And it's a question of love or money, right? Does he love her or her money? And does she love him or her money? And can it ever be that they have love and money at the same time? Because will one or the other abscond with it? And also for her reputation is super important, right? And his reputation's not great. So it's also love and money and reputation. So really, this is a Jane Austen novel, but if Jane Austen decided to focus on the scummy characters like Wickham, you know?
Focused on the scummy characters. Katya.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't have a lot of good options left.
Okay, being at the end of the game, you're down to
I know one of the people. Okay. Jackie Tyler from Doctor Who, who, for those of you who don't know, is Rose Tyler, as in the companion's mother. So she's like a single woman. She's widowed. There's like a, you know, she feels really lonely because Rose is the doctor. She resents the doctor for like a couple of seasons because she's mad about it, and then eventually comes around to it because she's like, oh, the doctor really cares about my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, stuff. So she's like, feels lonely, needs grappling with the fact that her like daughter is traversing space and time, which is like a lot to process, you know? It's like, who else is going to understand that experience? Not a lot of people. I contend that another Jack that would potentially understand that experience is Jack, the protagonist of BioShock, who I don't think has a last name, because, you know, BioShock is like, well, not a parallel universe. There's some weird stuff that happens where he kind of gets like raptured from the plane. It's called Rapture, it's the whole thing. And he's going through this underwater universe, grappling with history and all these other things, and like Utopia and basically Ayn Rand and all that stuff. Darker than Doctor Who, sort of, in some ways. But, you know, he's in with all those other things. I believe also, I'm trying to remember, like, lost a child. Yeah, definitely lost a child. And you learn through his flashbacks. And so he understands the experience of being lonely and detached, and also grappling with the complexities of the universe, because it's not in a TARDIS way, but in a Rapture, politics is icky way. So I feel like they would connect on a deep level of like, no one else has this experience of my child is sucked up by the multiverse in quite the way that he does and Jackie does. And they would bond, and it'd be great.
I think Hannah's has more of a rom-com vibe and is funnier. So, which of these do I want to watch more?
Or Jackie was going to get murdered, okay?
Oh, yeah, that was, yeah, I mean, it's rough.
I'm not a rom-com person, you know?
All right. So, question number 10. So, here's where we are. You should each have one Jack left. If Hannah wins this, I believe she takes it 6-4. If Katya wins it's a tie, 5-5. And I have a special tiebreaker question that I prepared just in case, because we also weren't sure how many people were going to play.
No pressure, right?
All right. This is going to be great because, all right.
God.
So, okay. Question number 10. You are Jack. You and your mother are poor and living from paycheck to paycheck. But one day you encounter a man selling magic beans, and you make a snap decision to spend your last several dollars on them. What could go wrong? Well, Your mother, furious with your frivolous ineptitude, throws the beans out the window. The next morning, a giant beanstalk has grown into the sky. Adventure awaits. How are you best qualified to deal with this scenario? And remember, you cannot use any previous jacks, like the beanstalk jack that Hannah used way several rounds ago. So, Katya, you can go first, I believe.
Okay.
Who's your remaining jack?
My remaining jack is Jack the Ripper. Beanstalk. Shit out of a giant. So Jack the Ripper's gonna go up a beanstalk, and he's gonna stab a giant in the ankles until it probably bleeds to death, because let's be real, that's his main ability. And the giant is gonna fall down out of the clouds, and that's gonna become, the giant corpse is gonna become a attraction for miles around, and they're gonna sell tickets to it, and merch, and also sell the scientific discovery that, hey, there are giants in the beanstalk land. But because nobody wants to cross Jack the Ripper, nobody else can go up the beanstalk unless he allows them to. So, like, all knowledge about the mysterious giants in the sky has to go through him, which means all of the governments of the world have to contract him, because obviously all the Departments of Defense are like, holy shit, there's giants in the sky. We're worried about the giants in the sky. And so, yeah, Jack the Ripper becomes like this weird kind of evil villain of the universe, I guess. But because of that, they don't have to worry about money anymore.
And Hannah, who is your remaining Jack?
Jack Shepherd from Lost. So,
That's
on a less bloody note than that. Okay. Jack Shepherd is actually like super well equipped to go up a beanstalk. Like, the spirit of adventure, the charisma of a leader, the open heart of a giver. So he's like up this beanstalk, exploring, looking around, checking it out, but not being too reactive. Just thinking, problem solving, thinking ahead, because someone has to have the gift of thinking ahead when you're stranded on an island or going up a beanstalk, right? So the big issue with there being giants in the sky, and now I want to sing like Into the Woods, is that the giants have a family, you know? So as we know from Into the Woods, if you kill one giant, well and good, you can have your golden goose and stuff for a sec, but then the giant's life is going to come down. And then probably the son is going to be bent on revenge because of cycles of violence and as we've seen from Romeo and Juliet. So Jack is a gifted diplomat, and he deals with people, the quote, others on the Lost Island. He does that with the giants, because I mean, honestly, if Jack had been like, hey, giant man, I am here now. We come in peace. We would like to be friends. Can you help us? Maybe there could be established trade routes going up and up through the clouds and down the clouds. It doesn't have to end in blood and a rotting corpse. Honestly, how long is that going to last? Could smell and send all the tourists away because, you know, dead bodies smell bad. Not that I know from personal experience, like Jack the Ripper, but like that's what the TV tells me. So anyway, Jack Shepherd establishes trade routes and like has his surgeon skills and like is open, and he's always encouraging people to go back at the beanstalk, you know, like, hey, we gotta go back. So it just keeps like the tourism and the trade routes flowing, and like the golden goose thing is like, so commonplace in the sky, but down below not so much. So like if they're able to trade something like that's commonplace cool to the giants, they have golden eggs and money problem solved, you know? And like Jack has daddy issues but not mommy issues, so like they get along great and have a good time, and Christian Shepherd's not there and it's all good.
So I think where this was won was on trade routes. I think that's what got me. It's like, we can establish trade routes. I think, okay, where's this going? And I was like, yeah, all right. You also had the bonus points of, you know, Kate, we have to go back. That was funny. But I think the trade routes got it. So I say Hannah gets it. Which, if I understand the counting correctly, someone can double check my math, but I believe
that Hannah has definitely won.
That is 6-4, and Hannah actually wins the first ever Jack versus Jack of the Vox podcast, as opposed to the Protagonist podcast, where we did a similar game. So
I feel like the main lesson here that I have learned is it is possible to have too many serial killers on your list.
Yeah, well, the other thing that's amazing, and I wonder if you guys noticed this when we played this before, we noted that we could play this game essentially infinite amount of times without even changing to a different name. And there's just so many Jacks in pop culture that like you just get a whole nother game each time.
I want to say I seriously considered trying to see how many times I could use Jack Frost, just different, very specific iterations. I had, Martin Short Jack Frost. Then there's like the Jack Frost from like the Bass Rankin, like kids, like animated stop motion thing. And then there's like the Chris Pine voice Jack Frost from Rise of the Guard. And then there's like the Jack Frost movie where he's like a snowman. I don't remember very well because I was like a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's more, but like that's like 4 or 5 scenarios right there,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that because I thought it would be annoying.
I guess like so Jack from Hot Frosty doesn't really use the last name Frost. He uses the last name vaguely Snowman, but
I could have picked Jack from Hot Frosty as well. But I guess that's going to come up on another show, I'm sure. So,
yes,
I spoil it for everyone.
But that was fun. Thank you guys. I'm glad I got to revisit that game. I also like to thank Andrew Dorowski of the Protagonist Podcast. He helped me come up with several of the scenarios. We did some brainstorming a couple of days ago to come up with some of the scenarios that could be used in the Jack versus Jack game. It's the first time I've actually been on, like Andrew does this a lot where he's on the judging side. It's a lot trickier and harder than I thought it would be. Props to him for doing this so many times.
I feel like it's like apples to apples, where like multiple people submit something amusing and then it's like, or occasionally no one submits anything amusing, where I think that there is at least one. I think there was one scenario where both of us gave up in different measures.
There were several where I was just like, well,
here's what I got.
I think that was honestly most of the scenarios where I'm like,
yeah, I was like, when Hannah used Beanstalk Jack so early in the game, and I'm like, oh, well, because he would have been perfect for the last round, I guess.
I think actually he would not, because again, he screwed everything up.
That's true.
Giants to smash everybody. The baker's wife is dead. His fault.
I think also like there is a certain point where like there should be points for originality.
Yes.
And I feel like just picking the canonical choice is not as fun.
Yep.
I think there are definitely points for whimsy.
I mean, saying that
we've resolved that
whimsy.
Yeah, we've resolved that whimsy is nice.
We've all won, and I think we've all won here because I think we laughed a lot, and you can never say no to a laugh.
Okay,
watch me.
Fair enough.
I'll find a way.
Apparently, Katya can say no to a laugh.
Yes, one should not, especially in these times where everyone's kind of stressed and things are complicated. So I think we should all enjoy the giggles where we find them.
On that note, Katya, is there anything you want to promote?
Can I just promote, like, be nice to people? Is that an option?
Yes.
I suppose so.
Just because, yeah. And probably spend less time on the internet than many of us are. Don't doom scroll. Don't do it. It's bad. Be informed.
I've been doing so much less than I normally do. Like since the election, this has been, I needed, which is weird because I'm me and like it's sort of my thing is to like watch, cable news like 24/7. I usually just have it on in the background all the time, but I've just like
your news consumption stresses me out.
Right, but I needed a break, so I'm actually only just now getting back into stuff since the election. It's been weeks. I just mostly sat out most of the cabinet debacle stuff, and I'm aware of stuff because I live on Earth, but like, it really was like, for me, I had to be like, I cannot have this on all the time right now, and then listen to people try to make sense of what happened in a way that they can't, and in the way in which they're like. I'm using, left side people and right side people, trying to both like, oh, well, it's because of this. And then this perfectly non-reflective vested interest that they've always had. And I'm just like, I don't need to listen to any of these right now. But anyway, Hannah, anything you want to plug?
Just the usual of, it's always nice to do something nice for someone else. So if you have the time or the money, you could always volunteer donate to something like your local food bank, because people need food.
That's true. Well, as always, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads. Not really. I'm actually, half of those I don't really post to. Twitter, the dregs of Twitter. I've been like not even paying attention anymore. It's gotten so rough. In all honesty, I may actually prefer Truth Social to Twitter right now.
Oh God.
Twitter's just gotten real bad. Truth Social
on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, like Truth Social is just people like sycophants saying how much they love Trump. It's terribly uninteresting, but it's just like Trump's the best president ever, blah, blah, blah. That's all Truth Social is. Twitter is Nazis. It's just lots of Nazi shit. It's bad. It's 4chan, 8chan bad. It's bad right now. But I'm on there for now. You can follow the show some of those places. I'm not really paying attention to the show's Twitter account at all, but we're on Blue Sky now, and we're on Facebook like we've always been. You can follow the show's blog at www.voxpopcast.com, where we post about whatever we're going to be talking about next week. And you can leave us comments on this or any other show. You can suggest topics or say anything else. And sometimes we pick guests from the blogs, or you have some topics you'd like us to consider. Send us a message. We've got our annual Christmas show coming up soon, our Christmas episode. So if there's stuff we should be watching, make sure we know what that is. I think Hannah and I are certainly willing to watch some interesting Christmas programs. If you enjoy the show, and we certainly hope you do, then please subscribe to us on iTunes or Pandora or Spotify or wherever the hell else you get podcasts from. And do us a favor, leave us a 5-star review. That really helps us out, especially if you leave us a 5-star review, not just rating on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. That gooses the algorithm, makes us more popular, and makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. I would like to thank Maximilian of thoughtForm Music for our epic theme song, building ever so more epically and playing us out. I'd once again like to thank Hannah and Katya for a fun-filled evening. I'd like to thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.